Red light. Green light.
Red light, green light. That line turned Squid Game into one of Netflix's most iconic moments. But Netflix didn't beat Blockbuster with hit shows. Before streaming, before originals, Netflix made one decision that changed everything. While Blockbuster made money by punishing customers with late fees, Netflix asked a dangerous question. What if renting movies didn't feel stressful? No late fees, no penalties, no fear. That simple choice didn't just change how people rented movies, it quietly killed a giant and built Netflix's dominance. And this is where most people get the story wrong. Blockbuster didn't fail because they were stupid. They failed because, for a long time, they were doing everything right. To understand how Netflix won, we first need to understand why Blockbuster ruled the world. Blockbuster didn't start as a villain. In the 1980s and 90s, renting movies was messy, unreliable, and inconsistent. Small video stores had limited inventory, outdated systems, and unpredictable availability. Blockbuster changed that. They brought scale, structure, and standardization to movie rentals. Big stores, thousands of titles, clean layouts, reliable systems. For the first time, movie night felt predictable. Blockbuster wasn't just renting tapes, they were building an entertainment system. At its peak, Blockbuster operated over 9,000 stores worldwide. Families built rituals around it, Friday night trips, browsing aisles. This wasn't just a business, it was culture. And yes, Blockbuster charged late fees. But in that era, late fees weren't shocking. They were normal. Libraries had them, rentals had them. Penalties for delays were part of everyday life. Blockbuster didn't invent late fees. They simply scaled a model that already worked. And for a long time, it worked. While Blockbuster was building massive stores, Netflix was starting small, almost invisible. Netflix didn't begin as a tech giant. They didn't have stores, brand power, or cultural dominance. In fact, their original idea sounded ridiculous at the time, mailing DVDs to people's homes. No browsing aisles, no instant gratification, no Friday night excitement. But Netflix wasn't trying to recreate the Blockbuster experience. They were trying to remove friction. No driving, no queues, no rushing back to avoid penalties. And then came the decision that quietly separated them from everyone else. No late fees. Customers could keep movies longer without fear, without pressure, without punishment. It felt risky, slower, less profitable on paper. But Netflix wasn't optimizing for transactions. They were optimizing for trust. And while Blockbuster was scaling stores, Netflix was learning something more valuable: how customers actually wanted to consume entertainment. For a long time, this wasn't even a competition. Blockbuster was winning, comfortably. They had the stores, the locations, the brand recognition. If you wanted a movie tonight, Blockbuster still made the most sense. And from a business perspective, their model worked. Late fees generated massive revenue, not because customers loved them, but because customers had no alternative. Convenience beat frustration, until someone removed the frustration. Netflix didn't attack Blockbuster head-on. They didn't compete on selection or scale. Instead, they attacked the experience. They removed the one thing customers quietly hated: the anxiety of being late. No rushing back to the store, no fines, no guilt. At first, it seemed insignificant. Blockbuster saw late fees as normal, as necessary, as profitable. Netflix saw them as a warning signal, and slowly, customer behavior began to shift. People didn't just rent from Netflix, they trusted Netflix. And while Blockbuster was protecting a system that worked yesterday, Netflix was quietly building a system designed for tomorrow. By now, the difference is clear. This wasn't a sudden collapse. It was two companies making very different choices about money, about customers, and about the future. So instead of opinions, let's break this down fairly. 5 categories, same rules, same fight. Netflix versus Blockbuster. Let's see who truly won. Let's start with the foundation of everything, the business model, how each company actually made money. Blockbuster made money per rental. Every movie was a transaction, and if you were late, you paid extra. Late fees weren't accidental, they were built into the model. Netflix did the opposite. They introduced a subscription, 1 monthly fee, unlimited rentals, no penalties. Instead of squeezing customers, Netflix focused on keeping them happy enough to stay. Predictable revenue for Netflix, less stress for customers. So in business model, Netflix wins. Blockbuster chased transactions. Netflix built relationships. Now let's talk about the customer experience, how it actually felt to use each service. With Blockbuster, renting a movie came with pressure. You had a deadline. You had to remember to return it on time. And if life got busy, you were punished with late fees. Watching a movie wasn't just entertainment, it came with stress in the back of your mind. Netflix removed that entirely. No return dates, no penalties, no anxiety. You could watch at your own pace, keep the movie as long as you wanted, and never worry about being late. That simple change transformed how customers felt. One experience was built on rules and consequences. The other was built on trust and freedom. So in customer experience, Netflix wins. Relaxed customers don't just rent more, they stay longer. Now let's move on to accessibility and convenience. How easy it actually was for customers to get a movie when they wanted one. For a long time, Blockbuster did convenience better than anyone else. Thousands of stores, prime locations, and instant access. You could walk in, grab a movie, and watch it the same night. But that convenience came with limits. You had to travel, you had to go during opening hours, and popular movies were often out of stock. Netflix changed the definition of convenience entirely. Movies came to your home. No driving, no queues, no worrying about whether the title you wanted was still on the shelf. And as technology evolved, Netflix removed even more friction, moving from DVDs by mail to instant streaming, available anytime, anywhere. So for accessibility and convenience, Netflix wins. Blockbuster was local, Netflix was effortless everywhere. Next, let's look at adaptability and innovation, how willing each company was to change, even when their existing business was still working. Blockbuster was built around physical stores, and for years, that system was incredibly successful. But those same stores became an anchor. Long leases, massive overhead, and a business model tied to foot traffic made change difficult. Every major shift threatened the very thing that made Blockbuster profitable. Netflix faced a different choice. Their DVD by mail business was working, but they didn't protect it. Instead, they were willing to disrupt themselves. They invested early in streaming, even though it meant cannibalizing their own DVD revenue. Short-term losses were accepted in exchange for long-term survival. Netflix wasn't trying to defend the past. They were preparing for what came next. In adaptability and innovation, Netflix wins again. Blockbuster protected yesterday, Netflix built tomorrow. Now let's talk about cultural impact, the role each brand played in people's lives beyond just renting movies. Blockbuster was more than a store. It was a shared experience. Friday night trips, families walking the aisles together, friends debating which movie to pick. It was part of a weekly ritual, a place where movie nights began. Blockbuster created moments that were social, physical, and memorable. Netflix changed how people watched movies, but it also changed how people experienced them. Watching became individual, personalized, on demand, convenient, but quieter. There were fewer shared moments, fewer spontaneous conversations in aisles, fewer rituals built around leaving the house to pick a film. So, in the cultural impact category, Blockbuster wins. Because while Netflix transformed access to entertainment, Blockbuster created shared experiences that defined an era. In the end, this wasn't a fair fight. Not because Blockbuster was weak, but because the game changed. Blockbuster won where it mattered in its time. They built scale, they created culture, they defined an era of movie nights. But Netflix won the future. They didn't win with better movies. They didn't win by moving faster. They won by listening to customers and removing pain others had accepted as normal. Out of 5 categories, Netflix takes 4. Not because Blockbuster failed, but because Netflix was willing to rethink everything. Blockbuster will always be remembered as a giant of its era. Netflix became dominant by learning from that giant and having the courage to let go. And that's the real lesson. Netflix versus Blockbuster wasn't about streaming versus stores. It was about comfort versus courage. And in this battle, Netflix takes the crown. The story ends here, but now it's your turn. Do you think this battle score is fair? Or are there other streaming giants that deserve the spotlight? Disney Plus, Hulu, or someone else? And what's your favorite show across all these platforms? Let us know in the comments. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this. And if you're not watching Netflix right now, click into our next video right here. You're going to love it.